Thank you, Mariana, for the introduction, and thank you, Abdi, for sharing your personal story. We've all come together today to discuss what is a momentous moment in history. We've all seen protests around the world originating in America, triggered by the absolutely horrific and tragic event of George Floyd having his life sapped away from him by a police officer. For me, watching that video was very, very difficult. When I saw George Floyd passing away, I not only saw him, I saw my brother, I saw my father, I saw myself. And it showed us in real time the institutional and structural racism that still exists and has practical impacts. We've now seen protests in the UK, which has led to that epic moment that we all saw, where the statue of Colston was thrown into the river in Bristol. It's a very difficult moment for us all. It's highlighted many problems in the UK. The fact that some people were more concerned about the welfare of a statue than actually confronting the history of colonialism and racism in our nation's past. We also have the issue and the problem of institutional racism that still exists. If you're Black, you're 9 times more likely to be stopped and searched compared to your white counterparts. I've experienced racism myself in my own life. For example, I remember when I was at school telling my career guidance counselor that I wanted to study medicine, only for her to take a step back, give me a look and said, I think you need to consider something else. Racism has far-reaching impacts, and this is a moment for us to come together and to shout quite clearly that Black Lives Matter, but not only to protest, but to demand change. We do not need another review, another inquiry. What we need is change backed by legislation. For example, having reform of our judicial system, having a look at the powers that police possess to stop and search at will. This change will only come about if we continue to campaign, we continue to shout loudly, and we continue to protest. This is a really important conversation that we're having. And I want to bring this back to the Labour Party. The Labour Party is, as we know, one of the strongest vehicles for progressive change our nation has ever seen. And what we need is to ensure that going forward into the 2024 general election, that we have a set of policies that will begin to remedy some of the institutional and structural racism that exist. So what's the challenge I will pose to many of us in this call today is to not only go out and march, but demand change from our MPs and to work internally within the Labour Party to ensure that when we form the next government, we can begin to dismantle the structures that continue to make our society so unequal. And it's important for us to continue to repeat the words that Black Lives Matter. Thank you for hosting this Labour BAME Network, and I really look forward to hearing the stories and hearing the views of those of you in attendance. Thank you.